So may we call on our next witness, Ms. Hailey Pecayo, to the witness stand, please. Ms. Hailey Pecayo will testify on the filing of fabricated charges of terrorism and violations of domestic law on IHL against her and her colleagues on account of their work as human rights defenders. For the reference of the jurors, this case is docketed as case number 11. Yes, please. May I proceed to propound the questions, Your Honor.
Yes, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Witness, good morning. Are you a part of any organization? And if so, what organization are you a part of?
Your Honor, I'm a human rights defender from Human Rights Watchdog Karapatan and currently the spokesperson of Tanggol Batangan. Karapatan is an alliance of individuals and member organization that aims to promote the protection of human rights in the Philippines.
Thank you, Ms. Witness. You mentioned Tanggol Batangan. Could you explain what Tanggol Batangan is, Ms. Witness?
Tanggol Batangan is also like Karapatan, but in a specific focus in the province of Batangas, Southern Tagalog region.
And in this Tanggol Batangan organization, Ms. Witness, what are your duties in this organization?
Your Honor, aside from being the spokesperson of Tanggol Batangan, I'm also a paralegal since 2021. I do paralegal work to our political prisoners in the province of Batangas. And I also join humanitarian mission when there are human rights violations reported to us.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Witness. Now, you are testifying about the fabricated criminal complaints that were filed against you by the military last year. How did you learn of these complaints, Ms. Witness?
I learned my 5 criminal complaints from my co-human rights defender, Kenneth Rementilla and Jasmin Rubia, when they received a subpoena from the Philippine Army that stated that they are aiding an NPA combatant. On those affidavits, the military is claiming that they are Kenneth and Jasmin are material support. The alleged violation is violation of anti-terror law of 2020, violation of international humanitarian law and war crimes against humanity, controlling improvised explosive device climber, and 1 attempted murder.
Thank you, Ms. Witness. And in particular, in these complaints, could you specify the allegations of the military in these complaints, Ms. Witness, please?
Contrary to the claims of the military, I am not an NPA combatant. I am a human rights defender and a civilian. There are 2 incidents on July 18, 2022. Sergeant Baharo from the Philippine Army is claiming that I am the NPA combatant he encountered when a 9-year-old girl was killed. Another one is from Corporal Ogatis. He is alleged stating that I am also an NPA combatant and a member of the Communist Party of the Philippines. He stated that he saw me on a firefight, holding M16 rifles and AK-27. He also said that the NPA is using an improvised explosive device.
Ms. Witness, what really happened on these dates that you mentioned? Thank you.
What really happened on July 18, 2022? I was in a paralegal work in a community of Batangas. I was helping a community who faced demolition. And on July 25, 2022, I was in the rally in the premises of Manila. It was at that time, it was the first State of the Nation address of Marcos Jr.
Thank you, Ms. Witness. And you mentioned that you were charged criminally in court. What happened to these criminal complaints that were filed against you, Ms. Witness?
All the criminal complaints filed against me has been dismissed for lack of evidence.
And how about those cases that were filed against your colleagues, Kenneth and Jasmin?
It's most likely also been dismissed. The resolution also includes that there are no evidence that I am an NPA or a terrorist.
Thank you, Ms. Witness. And what effects, if any, have these cases impacted upon you, Ms. Witness? What are these effects on you?
During those times, I was only 18 years old. I have lots of dreams continuing my humanitarian work. I also want to come back to communities I teach human rights orientation to know their basic human rights. During those 7 months, I was obligated to hide for my safety. For the information of everyone, the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020 is non-bailable. I will face whole life imprisonment if I didn't hide. I don't want to be in jail because I'm so young. I want to continue my human rights work till I can. During those 7 months, our province, our region faces states attack on our communities and even my co-human rights defenders. There are some of them, they also face the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020 and also financing terrorism. During those 7 months, I feel so helpless. But the thing that saved me is the hope to coming back and the mass movement who campaigns for the cause to free us from all of this.
Thank you, Ms. Witness. Aside from testifying on your personal experience with the criminalization of your human rights advocacy and humanitarian work, could you tell us, Ms. Witness, why are you here at the tribunal today?
Your Honor, I'm here to seek justice because I'm not the only victim. There are 98 human rights defenders, peasants, church people, and even civilians who face the terrorism draconian terror law. And the number still continues. I am here to call to junk the anti-terrorism law because its provisions are vague and overbroad that can prosecute us, human rights defenders. No revisions of this law can safeguard our safety. The International People's Tribunal has been an instrument for these goals. And I personally believe that this tribunal will come up into resolution to convict our perpetrators. Not only to seek justice for us victims, but also to end impunity in our country.
Thank you, Ms. Witness. We have no further questions to the witness, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Any questions from my colleague?
Thank you very much. Just a clarification. You were mentioning that in July 2022, you were in a village that was facing destruction. Can you just explain a bit more on that specific day, please?
So on July 18, 2021, I was in Santo Tomas, San Isidro Sur, on the province of Batangas. I was one of the paralegals who were helping the community who faced demolition. It was the demolition is initiated and a project of the government. There were 5,000 individuals, families who are gonna get demolished. Their houses is gonna get demolished. So I was helping them to advise on the legal remedies, and not only just legal remedies, but also campaigning for their rights. So currently, the update of that community, they face demolition. The houses are little under, and they didn't receive any compensation. They were forced to evacuate to a house that is far away from their livelihood.
Go ahead.
And just why is it this plan to demolish the housing? The reason why they are under this threat?
When we read the project paper, it said that the government want to build a new road. They want the house to be vanished so they can build roads and build buildings, like malls. They do that to. Pwede magtagalog.
Please go ahead, Ms. Witness. We can provide translations to the answers, Your Honor.
Doon po sa komunidad na iyon, pinapalaya sila dahil nga doon sa dahil gagawa ng panibagong daan at under to ng build. At nung panahon na iyon, sinasabi din nila na magtatayo sila ng mga buildings. Ang kasulukuyang kalagayan ng komunidad ngayon ay kaunti na lang ang mga bahay at napipilitan silang lumipat sa isang lugar na mas malayo sa livelihood nila.
Distant relocations.
Yes. Translation?
Yes, Your Honor. So the witness just answered, Your Honor, that the houses in that community were being demolished according to the build program of the government, under which roads and new buildings would be constructed. Currently, there are only a few houses left, and the residents of those houses that were demolished were being relocated to a distant place away from their livelihood.
I would like to add something. The military is also a part of the one who were forcing the civilian community to evacuate. They also a part of red tagging us paralegals who reside in that community when we were helping the civilians. They also threat the association to get the houses who were far away. That's why there were only few houses left, because the same military battalion who charged me in this criminal complaint, it was the same military battalion. And can I add something to my testimony? I forgot something. If I can. I almost forgot when we conducted the humanitarian mission. I was also sexually harassed by the commanding officer of the battalion. He touched me inappropriately without my consent. He was the commanding officer of the battalion at that time. His name is Ernesto Tenesa Jr. I would like to emphasize that. That's all. Thank you.
May I ask some follow-up questions concerning the sexual harassment? Did you file any charges against that particular individual whom you were able to identify? And if so, what was the result of the charges that you filed concerning sexual harassment?
Your Honor, of course, I want to file a criminal complaint, but the current state of our province and region We face state attacks every month. We face killings, this accusation, criminal charges of anti-terror act. We weren't able to even breathe. But if we had the time, if we can pause to the state attacks, of course I want to file a criminal complaint.
Is it your testimony that you have been labeled as a terrorist because of your human rights work and because you and your organization have been supporting the residents who are being forcefully removed from their homes in order to build these commercial buildings?
Yes, but specifically on those two incidents, the military is accusing me on an encounter. The military saw me on a humanitarian mission when the 9-year-old girl was killed, and that is the basis of the criminal complaints.
Thank you.